Hello. Um, I am the EDDMapS data coordinator, and as she said, I work for the Center for Invasive Species and Ecosystem Health. You may have also heard of the Bugwood Network. It was started in 1994. It was renamed to the Center for Invasive Species and Ecosystem Health in 2008 to kind of show the expansion of the range of responsibilities and role we were taking on in the invasive species and ecosystem communities. So we started as an image database. You may have heard of IPM images, insect images, weed images, forestry images, things like that. But now we aggregate distribution data for a variety of things, including invasive species, crop pests, biological control agent releases, and disease mapping as well. We also have databases for videos, presentations, and also articles. And then we provide web hosting and build tools to make all this information, the data, the videos, images, available to the general public. And we also have participated in the community of practice for e-extension. So EDDMapS, it's capitalized funny because it stands for the Early Detection and Distribution Mapping System. It's a web-based electronic reporting and distribution mapping program for invasive species, as I said, biological control agent releases, pests and plant diseases. We map nationwide. We're also moving into Canada. We've got some projects in a couple of the provinces in Canada. And we host websites for regional mapping projects, such as for the Florida Invasive Species Partnership, Mid-Atlantic Early Detection Network, Invasive Plant Atlas in New England, and many other projects. So at its heart, EDDMapS is an electronic early detection tool. We aggregate data from a variety of sources, including citizen scientists, homeowners, federal agencies, state agencies, SISMAs, CWMAs, all just different kinds of groups. We aggregate all that data, as well as from, like it says up there, herbariums and academic institutions and existing and regional topical databases. So what this means is that at a kind of larger scale, such as a state level, the maps between the NRCS plant database on the bottom and EDDMapS on the top kind of look similar. We have a similar spread for the tamarisk. But at a finer level, we're able to provide a bit more detail and kind of fill in the gaps where the plant's database may not be able to do so. What this means is that we're able to identify the existing range, the gaps, and the leading edges and maps for these invasive species. So this is just kind of showing the spread over the country that we've kind of gotten our hands on. We work with a variety of projects and universities and cooperative programs throughout the United States. The colors aren't quite true, apparently. This kind of black-purple kind of color means that those states have their own programs that we cooperate with. We share data back and forth. So in Texas, that would be the Texas Invaders program. In California, they've got Cal IPC and other programs there. And then Indiana has their own program that we work with them back and forth. Florida, as I mentioned before. So just kind of a slide showing the different partnerships in the different regions that we've developed. A lot of these are state departments of agriculture and different kind of state region resource programs, cooperative programs like the New Jersey Invasive Species Strike Team, private companies like Invasive Plant Control, academic institutions, and it just goes on. So this is the ones for the United States, and then as I said before, we've kind of worked our way into Canada a bit. We've got some cooperative programs with the Alberta Invasive Species Program, the Prairie Regions of Canada, which includes Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And then we're also have a very cooperative partnership with Ontario and programs in that particular province. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we've done with all these different partnerships and with other groups as well, we've worked with them and developed 24 smartphone apps. So you can report on different computer as well as in a smartphone application. And that's the website if you want to kind of look through them, apps.bugwood.org. So kind of going back to what EDDMapS is, we kind of promote the idea of data sharing aggregation. So what this helps do is standardizing the data from the beginning. This helps to kind of share data amongst all these different programs. This, by sharing the data and having a common forum for it, it also decreases the amount of duplication of effort. You don't, if you know something's out there, you don't have to go out and kind of look for it again if someone already found it. So this is kind of like knowing what your neighbor has, knowing what the state next over has, and knowing what's already been looked for in your area. So this also helps to increase the awareness of species ranges and issues associated with the invasive species. And also, by aggregating data from all these different places, it provides a broader audience to evaluate the validity of the data. As I said before, we have data that we've gotten from all these different programs, groups, agencies, and by incorporating it into one data kind of clearinghouse, we have had people, contact us saying, are you sure this is there? Are you sure that's what this is supposed to be? And sometimes it is, and they've increased their knowledge. They found something they didn't know was there, and sometimes it has been an error. We corrected in our database, and we informed the original reporter that it needs to be corrected in theirs as well. So just kind of a checks kind of system that may not have existed before. This also inspires collaboration and partnerships. So this helps to combine resources to achieve shared goals. And then kind of a issue that also comes up with these collaborations, as a lot of you have probably found out, is that you have to still address your individual needs of these different programs. So since different programs might focus on different goals in a larger scheme, but they may have portions of their goals that may align. So as I said, we recruit data from just all kinds of different resources: USDA, Plants Database, Biota of North America program, departments of natural resources, departments of agriculture, natural heritage programs. Those are some of our major contributors. As of this morning, we have, we have 2,655,000 plus records in the database for these species. Of those, there are over 1.7 million records that have a latitude and longitude associated with them. Some records just don't have a latitude and longitude. We have almost 25,000 EDDMapS members. They've registered, they have an EDDMapS account. And then over 7,000 of those are reporters. So they've reported in the database. And we also serve as a mirror of GISM, the Global Invasive Species Information Network. So just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that EDDMapS offers, we have local and national distribution maps. This is that state map I showed you before. This is a broader version of the county level map for that same species. We also have point level maps, which, yeah, these are kind of blurry pictures, aren't they? So all those little red clusters are focused areas where that species has been reported. It kind of gives you an idea of where everything is and the kind of points and areas where this species is focused. And then we also have GIS type maps where you can kind of see the points, you can draw polygons around them, you can have a little bit more functionality and interaction with that map. We also have identification and management information available for these species. So it'll have the an overview of the plant itself, resources that are available for it, selected images from that big image database I told you that we have. We include the maps for EDDMapS on there, and you can click and go to that website for that map. You can also see that this is a map for if it's on a state-regulated list, and we also have maps for if it appears on the WSSA's common and troublesome weed species list, which this species does not. And we also have additional invasive listing sources. One more thing. And we also provide kind of the background stuff, so taxonomic information as well as any additional references relating to the actual species in and of itself. So we map plants nationwide. We also now map animals nationwide. So when you go to report, you would click on the type of pest you're interested in reporting, and it'll take you to the reporting form. And then also we, as I said before, map biological control agent releases. So this is a map showing black dot spurge flea beetle being released for The target species, leafy spurge, it gives you an idea. We currently do not provide point level mapping for biological control agents. It's a privacy issue, and so we respect that, and we do that for some other species as well. So this is on the website what it looks like to report an invasive species, in this case an invasive plant. You would enter the species that you're interested in reporting, add additional information about infestations such as observation date, area, habitat, and so on. We also have some phenology type information you can include as well. Additional location information, so you would have chosen the state you're reporting in, you select the county, and then from there you can drop a point on the map, you can draw a polygon. After you do that, it'll automatically fill in the latitude and longitude, include any ownership information if it's on state lands, private lands. And then you can add up to 5 images at this point, any additional comments or information, and then you would submit your report. And this is what it would look like after it's submitted. So it would have all the information that you entered and any additional information that was entered by a verifier perhaps. It has the images and a map showing where that species was found. So the EDDMapS, after you've logged in, you can go to EDDMapS. It gives you your user statistics as well as your recent reports on the main page, where you can view, edit, revisit, or delete any records. So say we wanted to edit the record, it takes you right back to that reporting form, change anything, add any additional information. If you want to do a revisit, at the bottom it has your original record. You can go back, say, I went back on this date, it was to monitor for an post a treatment, and you can add additional pictures. Kind of keeps a rolling record of that particular species or site. This is an interesting thing that we've added. Is creating an alert, so you can go into the EDDMapS, and under alerts you can say, I want to know when someone reports tamarisk and it's the first report in a county. I want to know when when mimosa is being reported in a new state. Anytime something's reported in my county, you can set up these different filters so that you receive an email of when something's reported. You can go view that report, and you can use it for your own information, alert people in your area. So kind of currently when you're going out to find things, you kind of have to carry a GPS, you might have to carry a camera, a field notebook, or some sort of report form, and potentially even some field notebooks for identifying or any additional information. But kind of right now in your pocket, in your purse, on your table, you kind of have that kind of sitting there with you. So your smartphone has a GPS, it has a camera, it has either an app for reporting or it has a notepad for reporting. And you can also have digitized field notebooks, as we do for many of our apps. So the ultimate invasive species reporting tool is already with you. So I've kind of gone through how to report on the website, and that's really good for people who don't have a smartphone or who have already existing data or who want to kind of contribute data to a bunch of different websites. Well, if you want to use your smartphone, that allows you to report in the field. It saves your reports when you do not have wireless access, and you can also have tailored apps for reporting regional species, invasive species. So again, this is kind of what apps.bugwood.org looks like. You can go straight to the store to view download the different apps we have available. So the EDDMapS West app, as you can see, we've got a lot of partners for this app, a lot of different state agencies, and have kind of gotten together and said that this is something that they were interested in supporting. So to kind of walk you through the app, you would either register, or if you already had an account with EDDMapS, you would log in. This is the next page it'll take you to, so you can view species by category. You can view a list of all the species that are able to be reported. You can create a list of species if you only know 5 species, or you want to send out volunteers or employees to only look for certain species. You can have them create lists so they don't have to go through a big long list of species. You can view state species lists, and you can make negative surveys. So you went out, surveyed for something, didn't find it, you can delineate the area that you surveyed for. After you make reports, it'll show up in your upload queue, so you can make a bunch of reports and then upload them all at once. And just EDDMapS login as well as more information, settings, and things like that. So if you wanted to view species by category, it'll show you the different categories of species that we have created, so aquatics, herbs, forbs, and so on, including insects and mollusks, which are down further. So if you wanted to particularly look at trees, those are all the trees that are available for reporting. If you click on the species itself, it'll take you directly to the reporting form. If you click on the eye, it'll take you for more information. So it'll have images, so you can look at the different images of the species that are available for reporting. You can view information about the description of the species. You can see maps of where it has been reported. And then this is a pared down version of the reporting form. So you've chosen the species, it'll automatically fill in the date, it'll automatically fill in the point location. You can attach images. You can monitor the amount of time spent, which is really good for people who have volunteers or employees. They want to kind of keep track of how much time they're spending out there. Add infestation information, density, and any additional notes. So if we wanted to report salt cedar, as I said, we can have it as a point. You can drag it around, or you can create a polygon, and it'll automatically calculate the area. You can also have that loaded in. Once you have that loaded in, it'll show up as well. And as I said, you can add pictures. You can take a picture directly then, or you can choose one from your gallery. And then you'll save your information in. As I said, it'll go into your queue, and you can, after you've kind of chosen all the areas you wanted to report from, you can upload all your reports. This is what the negative survey looks like. So it'll have the date and time filled in. You can choose from this list of species on the right. So you can say, I surveyed for these 5 species and I didn't find them. This is the amount of time I spent doing that. And then you can, again, create a polygon showing the area that you surveyed. And then you can save that. This is really useful for knowing when something has been surveyed for. When it wasn't found, and then all of a sudden it's found. So instead of not knowing when something kind of really came in, it may have been there for 10 years and no one ever found it, you kind of have a timeline of surveying for that species. And again, this is the same report that'll show up when you've made that record. So it goes to the same place. You can go to My EDDMapS, add more information, and so forth. It's treated like a regular report. It goes into the same database. So just one other thing, I've mentioned we get a lot of reports from large groups. We get large amounts of data all at once from groups. So if you or the group you work for, you want to submit data to us, you don't want to enter it one at a time, this is kind of where I come in. Send me your data. This is how you do it. So you have Excel files, you have databases you want to send into us. You log into My EDDMapS. At the bottom is My Uploads. Under Upload Data on the top left, it'll take you to this data uploader. You can name it, so you can say, these are all the files from this particular day or for this particular area. You select the files you want to upload, and this can be a ton of different file formats. We don't really restrict it. And then you upload the data, and this is what it'll look like. It'll tell you the upload ID, the date you uploaded it, and the current status. If I'm working on processing it, it'll have that. If it needs more information, I'll likely have emailed you about that, and so you can view the status of your upload at that point. So the common question we get is, you go out, you report all these different things. Why aren't they showing up? Why aren't they on the map? I want to show, what's going on. All uploaded reports will appear in your My Reports under My EDDMapS. Currently, all data that goes in from phones, that comes in from the websites, is considered actionable. It's not verified. It's not publicly available. It needs to be reviewed by a verifier before it's publicly available. This is so we don't have things coming in that are just completely unusual and are of regulatory concern being reported in areas that are just completely outside of the region that they're currently known in. So that's not going to be publicly available. So currently we do have some in our system that are available. They're unverified. They're still publicly available. This is kind of older data. And so it's mapped and it's available for download, but it's marked on the record that it hasn't been verified by an expert. And then finally, verified It's been verified by an expert. It is publicly available. You can map it, you can download it, things like that. So to kind of walk you through the process, the record is entered, an alert is sent to the verifier. The record's evaluated based on the information that's provided in the record. If they have a sample, if they've taken images, if it's an expertise kind of situation, or if there's no supporting documentation whatsoever. The verifier may contact us or contact the reporter directly to get more information if it's needed. And in certain cases, there have been times when the verifier goes out to the site and it's been, they verify it that way. So then from there, they'll change the record status for the identification credibility to one of those 5 options based on if it's possible, credible, verified, if it's an incorrect record, or if it just needs to be deleted for whatever reason. So verifiers have training and education in identification of invasive species. They're usually specific to a location or a particular type of invasive species. They're active in the invasive species environmental communities, and they also have the time to verify records. They may have included it in their activities for their job, or they may just be doing this because it's important to them, but we don't pay them. So this is more of a community thing. So some of the challenges and benefits for nationwide mapping is standardization of input and output. We get information in different formats a lot, but it does provide some instances of collaboration between different groups. We do have some quality standards to kind of ensure that the data that's going in and being available is better quality. All data is owned by the people who report it. It's not owned by EDDMapS. It's owned by them. And then we've, as I said before, with some of the data, we do take into account privacy concerns with certain species as well as with certain land ownership issues. So all this data is going in. It can come out too. You can download this data. So you can download the data as an XLS, a KML, a GPX, and a shapefile. So from the species map, you can go to the top right corner. You have those options for downloading. You can also download the map directly as an image. In the advanced query tools, you can say what species you want, where you want it, a particular date range, or a particular reporter. You can really specify down to what you want. So in this case, this is all the records for Chinese privet in Georgia. You can again download it in the different formats as well. This will include county level information, even though this isn't a county level map. Or you can just download the point data individually as a KML or XLS file. Sorry, I went a little long, but no one's after me, so I'll take any questions. And that's my contact information. You can email me, ask me anything really. Yeah, I think I've gotten less of that because we have these advanced query tools now. People can go and directly query the database, get the information they want. If they want something really unusual, some really specific filters, I do get that kind of information. I've gotten, I had a request for data for a particular, they wanted to know all the species that had been reported within like 150 miles of the center of their park. So I had to query the database directly for that. We don't have that as an option quite yet. But people use this data to create their own watch lists for their park or their CWMA or SISMA or watershed area, things like that. We have also, I have gotten email requests from students actually that want to use the data in either like a school project or they're actually like a thesis project, things like that. So we know the data is being used, but we have automated it a fair amount. And a question I get often is, so how much does an app cost? I don't know that. I can't answer that. I'm not the one who develops these things, but we do take that into consideration. We do. As I said, we have worked with these different things. These apps are free to download. They're free to use. You're freely available to upload data and to download data. But to create an app specific to your program, that does usually cost money. So, but you didn't ask that. I was just letting everyone know. Yeah. Well, that's why we have these regional and topical apps. That's why we have 24 of them rather than one app for the whole United States, because that way we can really tailor the list, because we're including maps or the ability to access maps. We're including images. We're including the articles. Um, you try to keep it as small as possible, but everyone wants to map everything. So what wasn't shown is at the bottom of each of these reporting maps is other or unknown or unlisted. So you can report something that's unlisted. You can make a note in the comments of what it is, and then you can go to your My EDDMapS. You can go to that upload, and you can amend the species name. So those can that's kind of a way to report things that aren't very common and so aren't included in the individual apps. But yes, the apps are kind of big. Thank you.